My pleasure, Ruby.
You know why I'm interviewing you?
Because you had to choose a family member with interesting family history.
Yes. Well, my first initial thought was to interview my grandfather, but then I thought I can't interview him because he speaks Greek. So then I thought I might interview Grandpa Jack or Uncle Doug, but they both died. So
That makes me number 3.
yeah. Well, to start off with, where were you born?
I was born in Sydney, although I grew up in the Hunter Valley.
Where was Grandpa Jack born?
He was also born in Sydney, and he grew up in Sydney.
What was Grandpa Jack's job?
His first job was working in a garage. He had a petrol station on the north side of Sydney, and he had that for about 17 years.
Did he do any other jobs?
Lots of jobs. After that, I don't know if you count the war as a job, but he also had trucking business, and then he went to the farm.
What type of farm?
Well, we had beef cattle, but it was mainly a dairy farm.
What did you do before school?
Before school, well, I had to milk cows every day.
What did you do during school?
During school, well, we would learn things at school, maths and English and stuff.
And did you play games at lunch or recess?
Yes, we played lots of games, mainly handball. Handball was what we did at recess and lunchtime.
Oh, really? You're lucky. We don't get to play at recess.
You don't?
No.
Well, we did plenty.
What did you do after school?
Well, we would play handball again, and then come home, and I didn't have anything in particular to do. We used to shoot things, jump on motorbikes, things like that.
And did you have homework?
Well, homework was optional back then, so I didn't really do very much homework.
Really?
Not like you guys.
Did you have a gun?
Yes, I had a gun. I had a few guns.
What type?
My first one was a BB gun. It has a little baby pellet. It can't really kill you easily, although you can lose an eye with it. And then I had a 22. I had a few guns. The 22 will kill you. And I mainly shot rabbits, tin cans, sometimes birds, but I'd get a hiding if I did that.
What's a hiding?
Hiding smack, bad smack. Much worse than I give you.
I'm sure you got plenty of those. In Australia, we aren't allowed guns now, are we?
No. After I left the farm, there was a massacre. I think it was 1996, and all guns were banned. So most farmers don't have guns now.
Eve and I do a lot of swimming to keep fit, especially Eve. Did you have swimming lessons or squads?
No swimming lessons, no squads, but I could swim.
Who taught you?
I taught myself. We had a river. We used to jump in the Hunter River. It was a raging river back then, and it had like rapids. And you would jump in and you'd go down and jump out. So I didn't do proper freestyle like you do, but I could swim.
What happened to the Hunter River? Because I went when I was younger and it was only ankle deep.
So most of the water has been used up in the Hunter River now. It would have been at least probably getting towards 20 metres deep, and it's obviously not very deep now, but there's a number of reasons. Everybody all the farmers take it now with irrigation, and they are charged for every litre they use now, where we weren't. But there's also all the cotton farms that are up higher, and the cotton farms use a lot of water, so they've basically used it all up, and as it comes, they let out a little bit of water as they need it.
What sports did you play other than handball and swimming?
Well, I wouldn't have called swimming a sport, but I played soccer, cricket, tennis, that type of stuff.
And how old were you when you learned how to ride a motorbike?
I was young. I would have been about 6. It was a little baby one.
How old were you when you learned how to drive a car?
Similar time, probably 7. I had a little manual car.
Did Grandpa Jack go to war?
Yes, he went to the Second World War, and he went to New Guinea and Borneo.
So what made him move from Sydney to the Hunter Valley?
Well, he had the garage for a long time, like 17 years, and then I guess he wanted a farm, so he went and bought a farm in the Hunter Valley.
That would have been a good decision. I couldn't have a garage for 17 years.
No, it'd get a bit boring.
I always remember having to yell at Grandpa Jack when I was a little girl. Why was he so deaf?
Probably because he was always on, heavy machinery and tractors and things, and they didn't wear ear protection back then, and so over the years it's probably damaged his hearing.
So, why did it damage his hearing?
Well, because loud noises, people weren't aware that would damage your eardrums. Like now they're very aware. You see a person mowing a lawn, they put earmuffs on,
And that's not very loud.
No, not compared with some big machinery. And I'm sure when he was in the war, there was a lot of heavy machinery there too, and he wouldn't have been wearing protection either.
What was Grandpa Jack's job in the war?
Well, he was a mechanic. He was, not far from the front line, but he wasn't in the infantry fighting. He was fixing all the machinery.
Why did you move away from the farm?
Well, we had our farm taken off us by the government.
For what?
For the coal. So one day a man came and he drilled a little baby hole, or a very thin hole but very deep, and they found coal under our farm. They found first class coal under our farm and a whole series of farm and neighbours, and so everybody's had their farm taken off them.
So did Grandpa Jack take the government to court?
So Grandpa Jack tried to fight to keep his farm, but it's very hard because the law says, it's very hard to fight the government when the law says that the land is Crown land. So you can't go and mine your own land and dig a big hole in Australia. That's not allowed. And so, the government often resumes farms.
So they're still resuming farms now?
Yeah, and they can resume other things. If they want to put a freeway through, they can, take houses to put that freeway. So it still happens in Australia lots of times, for the greater good of everyone.
Why is coal so important? Because, if we have such massive land amount, why would they go taking other people's farm if they could use land that isn't being used by farm?
Because you only want to take the land that has the minerals you want. And so they want the good coal, the first class coal, that's the really black stuff. And so wherever they find it, hopefully they find it where a farm isn't. And it's a bit of a shame they've dug up the Hunter Valley because it looks terrible now if you get in an aeroplane and have a look, or Google Maps. It looks shocking.
The new internet.
Yes.
What happened when you lost the farm?
Well, we were in a little bit of turmoil at the time because we didn't know what to do, because you can, the government will get valuers and they will try to give you compensation, but a valuer never gives you the value of the land of what it's worth. So my dad could have bought another farm, but that wasn't going to be on the Hunter River. And if you're not on the river, if you're used to that, you don't want to be a farm that's dry and not green. So he didn't want another farm unless he had a good farm. And he wasn't really sure what to do or where to go, so he looked at different places. In the end, we came to Sydney.
Do you think that in the end Sydney was a good place to move? Or did it give you benefits?
It was probably a blessing in disguise in hindsight, because I got to go to university and I got to learn about software and lots of cool stuff like that.
This place is cool, but what about Mum?
Yes, and I got to meet your mother, and you came along.
And who do you love more, Meg or Evie?
You, of course.
Who do you really love more?
You, darling.
Thank you for letting me interview you, Dad.
It's my pleasure.
If you like this video, please click the like button or subscribe. Thank you.